comics tried to add lore where there was none.
Or where none was needed.
Yeah. Because, like, I especially loved when Linkara tried to add, or Linkara riffed on the characters that they created within those comics and actually made them villains within his own universe, kind of thing. Because they are just stupid and outlandish compared to the lore that came with it.
Yeah, and again, that's a problem with a lot of horror stuff, because I remember when I would try doing horror film ideas back in high school, I would pitch these ideas that were more psychological, but everyone wanted to work in a monster. Everyone wanted to work in some sort of grander thing, when in reality, I'm just like, no, that's not what I'm going for at all. I get you want to use your makeup kit, but please, not everything needs a goddamn monster. Not everything has to have an answer.
Not at all.
That's why one of my favorite horror films, The Haunting, is one of my favorites, because it doesn't give you an answer. It leaves you to speculate of whether or not was it the ghosts or did the main character just go crazy.
Well, and that's also, in my opinion, like the good moniker of the moniker of a good horror director is that I don't care what anybody will ever tell me. Like I always think that a good director has a starting point in horror in modern day Hollywood, because you look at Peter Jackson, Sam Raimi, Wes Craven,
James Cameron.
And one of the reasons that I think that they are really good is one of the things I've heard about all of these directors is they are thrifty motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they know how to ink out every possible penny in their movie budget, and it's because in horror they had to look at a scene and go, do we really actually need to go and do this makeup job, or can we use cameras to be able to make it scary?
Yeah, or it's a case of like, what can we get away with not showing? And
I'm not saying.
Whoa.
Oh, jeez. How on earth were you supposed to see that?
Well, we found the key.
We did. We almost died. We found a bottle, too. That's helpful. Key of Scarecrow. But yeah, like, I'm not saying that directors out there, like, the only way I'm going to give you any kind of lick of salt is if you go and do horror. No. There are some directors that shouldn't do that. But it's a really great way for you to be able to learn horror, like a movie budget.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at where James Wan ended up. He started out with horror, did the Saw movies, did the Conjuring movies, and now he's working on action films. Wasn't he the director of Aquaman?
I think he was.
Yeah.
And man, that was amazing.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask you if you'd seen that.
I haven't, because, again,
dude.
Like I've told people, I've been kind of burnt out on superheroes, so...
Well, I'll just ask you this, because, like, you've seen Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, I saw Wonder Woman.
Okay, so, like, I've made the comparison that Wonder Woman is to DC what Captain America, the First Avenger, was to Marvel. Did you see the original Thor?
Yes.
In theaters? Aquaman is that, as far as I'm concerned. It literally hits, like, the same notes as Thor does, and it hits them with the same level of wonder that Thor did. So it's one of those few that given I know your rule, so like for viewers who are gonna bust me saying like, no, he has this rule this is the one that I would actually say it's okay to step outside the rule.
Well, yeah, and plus it's a case of I still watch movies. It's just a case if I watch it, I'm just not gonna do a review of it. Because that was the rule with the Marvel movies, was that I just wasn't going to do the weekly reviews where I would go every week.
And for the record, I think we've answered this before, but no, Romney does not have a special rule on this where I get him exclusively for Marvel movies. Somebody got that feeling, and I don't know where it came from.
Well, again, it's because the way I phrase it is that if it was a Marvel movie that the whole Geek News crew was going to see, that would be a case of, okay.
But I didn't pull Romney aside and say, when you see Marvel movies, you will always do them with us, all right? Do you understand? No, I never did that. I basically planned Avengers 2, and then you made your video, and I think I pulled you aside and said, okay, is this going to work now? Because you have this rule?
Well, yeah, and so the idea is that...
you're no, it's fine.
Yeah, and the idea is that I wasn't going to do, like, any more reviews on my channel of the Marvel movies, because, again, I got kind of burnt out, got tired of them being basically the same movie, but with different characters. That's why I was so excited with Into the Spider-Verse, is because, it can actually tell its own damn story without having to be episode 376 of the Avengers show.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Actually, I just barely thought about this. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Wasn't James Wan the guy who tried to get Metroid for a while?
He may have been in consideration, because I also know he's attached...
Or is that John Woo? I can't remember which. One of them had it, and actually, if it had been James Wan, I might have been okay with that, because Metroid has a lot of horror-esque elements to it.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a
worked.
lot of people attached, and there have been studios that tried approaching directors with ideas as well. Like, I know the big one everybody always brings up is that of James Cameron doing Metroid, but even James Cameron's kind of gone on record saying, hey, that's not really a franchise I'm into, so
No.
I'm probably not going to do it.
No, the other one that I've heard was, and it might be John Woo, because I remember that a lot of people were happy about that because of Hard Target and what he was able to do with that, and they were ecstatic with having Samus do similar movements. And maybe that wouldn't have worked in the long run, but James Wan doing it, considering what they did with Aquaman, I could totally see a journey through Zebes with him.
It just depends on whether or not Nintendo's willing to take the risk.
Yeah, that's the real question, isn't it? Because, like, Samus Returns did well financially. A lot of people don't realize that, but it did well financially. But it was also a handheld title, so its budget expectations were significantly lower. A lot of people don't realize this, but it's going to be Metroid Prime 4 that dictates whether or not we get any future Metroid entries.
Yeah, and especially if they even decide to expand into film, because we still haven't even seen any news of the Mario stuff. What'll decide it will be Detective Pikachu and how that performs.
No, we haven't seen Mario yet, but we've seen Sonic.
Yep.
Ew.
Yeah, but the main difference here is that Sonic is going for a live-action animation hybrid. We know for Mario it's going to be strictly animation.
Yeah, for Mario, and that might be the best way to go about it with Mario. I still think to this day that's probably the best way to be able to go about it with Sonic, and unfortunately, that's not where they're going. Could it be that we actually have to put the key in and then the second one unlocks?
That's my guess. That's why I came back here.
Let's play it safe then. All right, so use the key of the Scarecrow.
Okay, so yeah,
There are 2 locks. So now can we check here?
All right, so this is going to be one of those.
Yep.
Okay, let's check on our health, because I know we took some damage.
Something tells me that we're going to be saying that a lot in this playthrough, Romney.
All right,
It's
well,
one
I'm
of
only in
those.
the orange, so not too bad.
Oh, I didn't even notice that before. He kept the note that said to school.
Yep.
Okay. And bullets are pretty low, too.
Well, not too much. We've got an extra 38 shots, and I've just reloaded.
Good.
That's why I reloaded.
This inventory system is kind of throwing me off. That's why I made that mistake. I'm too used to the Resident Evil design where it's all right there and you can see it. No, you actually have to cycle through it.
So, it says the keys to the Eclipse are there, so then where the heck are the other 2 keys is the question.
I'm guessing along the same street because of the hint that it's giving us. Wow, I didn't even realize that. You could fall off the steps. That's already different from Resident Evil.
Yep. Again, this very much was a take like Resident Evil did and do it better.
Yep. And the funniest part about that is, like, fans, because if you're talking to a Silent Hill fan, there's more than likely a concept that you're talking also to a Resident Evil fan. And a lot of them just kind of have the consensus of, like, neither one did it better or worse. They just did it differently.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way to look at it.
And so at that point, if you're more into the psychological horror, then Silent Hill is more your fancy. If you're more into the story, the story and the science, the sci-fi kind of elements that are being brought into the mix, then Resident Evil's probably. Oh, dude, they just murder dogs, don't they? Oh, this has the same problem as Resident Evil does. If they're not on screen, they don't count. Okay, yeah, let's equip the butcher knife. Okay, what is that paper on the ground?
That's what I'm gonna find out.
It's so mean of you, Romney. Now PETA's gonna complain. PETA's gonna complain because you kicked a dog when it was down.
Yeah. Well.
It was either him or you.
Yeah, that and PETA as an organization, that's a tirade for another time.
Oh, yes. The best way that I know how to sum up my thoughts on PETA are when Dorkly made fun of them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not even just Dorkly. There's a lot of.
Or
yeah.
Was it Dorkly or was it College Humor that did it?
Well,
I think it was Dorkly. I think they'd branched off by that point.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of satirical stuff making fun of PETA and just a lot of really disturbing information about them. But yeah, like I could go on the tirade, but I don't think the audience wants me to go on a soapbox.
Nah. We already go on soapboxes enough on the podcast.
Yeah.
And this is more to just sit back and have some fun.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the, so speaking of the podcast, that's one of those things I'm not looking forward to, because that did technically happen before we went on break, or after we went on break, is the Sonic reveal.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna need to quickly broach it, and it's so stupid. Like, I hate to be the guy that said I told you so, but yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. I've even told Alex as much on Drak and Shadow. You guys can check that out there.
Yeah, I just kind of liked how the studio responded, saying like, "Can't the guy work out?"
Do you want to know what was really funny though? If you looked it up on IGN, the art, it was either the creator or the artist behind God of War did a bunch of Nintendo drawings of like how he would interpret them, and he did one for Sonic. And it's pretty much spot on with what the movie did. Like, as far as the legs and what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
And so it was, like, kind of weird looking. Like, are you the guy who did that? That's really close to what they're doing. So, it's officially my theory that the God of War art director is working on Sonic.
Alright, so well, we know that they wouldn't respawn it here.
No.
So that rules that out.
And we can't go in that. We can't go in the house. So at that point, I mean, we found it on a house. I'm guessing that's where we're gonna find the rest of them.
Yep, or at least in this general vicinity.
Yeah.
Because the note said keys, not key.
Uh-huh.
So we'll just...
And it was along the street. So...
Along the street, but we found that first key in a tucked away corner.
I'm actually wondering if, like... Granted, I'm going with game logic here, so I don't know how much that's going to come into play. But I would almost wonder if, like, on the opposite side of the street, if there was an equally hidden away route that you could take to the next key.
Well, let's find out. And hope that Harry doesn't fall to his death.
Yes. Okay, well, at least it's being helpful in that regard. Like, it is saying you can't walk there. We are getting invisible wall. Okay, so I guess just follow the street and see if we find any nooks or crannies.
Yep.
That would house a key. And there's actually another story that I'm debating whether or not it will make our first podcast of the year, and I'm going to bring it to you and just see what you think right off the bat. I have no way to confirm this, Romney, because I literally, like, while I was off changing diapers and whatnot, YouTube was still running in the background in my house, and all of a sudden I came back and there was a video talking about a petition, because I don't know if you've been following the Kingdom Hearts news that's been coming out, but they just barely announced that there will be a hidden movie in 3, and usually the hidden movies kind of hint at another game being made. And so apparently there's a petition, I haven't been able to find it, that is demanding that Nomura remove the hidden scene in Kingdom Hearts 3, as people are not sure if they want another game and are afraid that, I'm not even kidding, this is the wording for it, they are afraid they cannot wait for another one.
Well, much like with change.org petitions and just knowing Nomura, if it's being put in, it's going to be put in.
But just like the wording of that, you're not sure, if you don't know if you can wait that long again for a game. Are you kidding me? Like, okay, most gamers, at least the demographics that people try to mention, are my age, which means you've done just as much waiting as I have. And so I'm like, are you serious? You don't know if you can wait that long. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we have yearly releases of Call of Duty.
Yeah. And honestly, just knowing Nomura and how ambitious he tends to be, it's gonna happen, whether we want it to or not.
Ambitious or suicidal?
There's a difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in the games industry, is there really a difference?
I mean, for crying out loud, I was almost tempted for a while there with the coverage we were doing last year of, look, Square Enix, you need to just put Nomura in a room. Not because he's doing anything wrong, mind you, but because every time a journalist comes out and says, "Are you willing to do this?" then he's like, "Oh yeah, I can totally do that. I can totally do it." And that's how we get Nomura running himself into the ground.
Yep. And once again, the PR team at Squeenix has a heart attack.
Uh-huh. It's like, how on earth are we going to keep it? No wonder Sakaguchi left, man. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall. He's like, oh man, they just keep on wanting me to run myself into the ground. What the hell? Now I'm not so mad at the fact that Sakaguchi left the company. Oh, come on. Smack! Oh, that still counted as a hit to you? Oh, great, and birdie now. You guys suck. Ow! I did not need the brain duster to the head. Well, at least we can take him out.
And we still got a sizable amount of bullets at the very least.
Yeah, we're fairly charitable in that regard, so... Okay, where's Birdie? That does not count. Ah! He keeps on coming in from behind! Ow. Are you kidding me? They distance bugged him. Okay, well, maybe he's not gonna bother us for a little bit. Ah! Okay. Where is this third key? Oh, jeez! That actually was genuinely scary just because he came out of nowhere. He was literally in front of the model.
Yep.
Okay.
Now he's dead.
Now he's dead. Okay, so that didn't work. More static. And you were saying that static is also hinting at where an item might be?
Well, that's what I thought, but I think it may be limited just to enemies.
Yeah.
It's just I thought that that's what it was hinting because there was the dogs that weren't dead in that other section.
Oh, and we can already hear him. Oh, okay, well. Thankfully, it only takes about 2 bullets to kill them. Yeah. Unlike Resident Evil, where it takes like 5.
Depending on the difficulty. And other factors.
Yes.
Because at least here, Harry knows how to actually aim at dogs. Which is weird, considering that he's had no sort of military or law enforcement training. But again, when you consider that this is a psychological series, for all we know, this could all be in his mind.
And therefore, he's the most amazing shot ever in his dreams.
Yeah, he could just be some scared hobo pointing a stick at a dog. Or at even just a trash.
Yeah,
a blood trail.
I think you left that when you got hit.
Okay, thought it was a clue.
It might. Well, I mean, don't take my word for it. Maybe it is.
Maybe. Let's see. I guess there's this alleyway. Because we've got 2 keys now, or at least...
I'm trying to remember what was in that alleyway. I have no idea.
And that's the downside of the fog. It can be very, very easy to lose track of where you are.
Yeah. Oh, and we got ourselves turned around. This is definitely one of those games where you'd probably be like hugging a building.
Yeah.
Just to make sure you know where you're going. Okay, there's something in here.
Something flapping.
Oh, I didn't even notice the flapping until now. So yeah, it's gonna be
Seems to have
birdie.
passed us by.
Yay. So we don't have to worry about them. At the very least. Never mind. It's coming back. It's like I can hear somebody coming our way.